What is up, everybody? Chris, the Dice DGen here. Welcome to the Wildcard Weekend. It's Wildcard Weekend. We have a special guest today. We have Ian. Ian, how are you this evening?
What's up, Chris? Thanks for the invite, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. We are here on Casino Gaming TV with the Daily Fantasy Domination Show, and we're going to be chatting a lot about the playoffs today. All right, so we're going to break down Wild Card Weekend for you. We're going to give you our analysis on the games. We'll give you the stats. We'll give you the Vegas lines. We'll give you everything all you DGens need to know about these games. How's that sound, Ian?
I'm loving it, man. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. All right. First, we have to address something real quick. All right. So obviously you're a Seahawks fan, and
Big
as
Seahawks fan.
as all of anyone watching can see, I'm wearing a Seahawks shirt. The reason I'm wearing a Seahawks shirt is because I'm a man of my word. I made a bet with Ian during fantasy football season. So if you guys don't know, there was a CGTV craps football league, and Ian and I were playing one week, and he bet me that his team would beat mine. And if his team won, I'd have to come on and wear a Seahawks jersey or a Seahawks t-shirt. If I won, he'd have to come on and wear an Eagles shirt. So, as you can tell, clearly I lost. So, Seahawks shirt for me. So we're both rocking the Seahawks shirts, and we'll be talking about the Seahawks game in a little bit. I see Jen is here. Jen is here, and she
Of
says
course,
go
Jen's here.
Niners. So why is that popping up there? We need that down there. There we go. Jen says go
Niner.
Niners. Not surprising. And then here's a little clap for you. She'll ship you guys some Kleenex and some e-hugs. So nice of her, always taking care of people. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens in this game. So let's get down into the playoffs. Let's start talking about it.
Uh, Playoffs?
Let's do
Don't
it.
talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I didn't.
All right, so let the playoffs begin. Let's let them begin. Oh, here we go. I'm going to take you through my entire slide deck right now because I didn't fast forward all the way through. Oops. DGen not prepared. Shocker here. All right, here we go. So if you guys don't know already, here is what the bracket looks like, and I can't say I'm too surprised. I can't say I'm too surprised. Anything on this bracket surprise you, Ian?
To be honest with you, Chris, the Seahawks being in the playoffs was a big surprise. Beginning of the year, the over/under on the Seahawks winning games was 5.5, and they end up winning 9. Anybody that doubts Pete Carroll as a coach and to do what he did with Geno Smith this year and broke a bunch of 4 different records is pretty crazy. Jen, I just want you to know, as you can see on the thing, the Seahawks are on top of the 49ers. Second one that really surprises me is just to see what the Ravens have been able to do with and the Finns, right? With hurt
Yeah.
quarterbacks not being able to play, just to be able to limp into the playoffs, that's big. Just to be able to get a shot at the show. So,
Yep.
and it's nice to see, I know you're not going to be a big fan of this, but see the Giants back in there. When I was younger in the early 90s, the Giants were with Phil Simms was dominating. So it's good to see them back, especially as much haters there was on Daniel Jones, and to watch him go off that last week for fantasy was huge. I mean, 44, 45 fantasy points I think he ended up scoring. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he helped Cat win the CGTV Fantasy League with that performance. And
Yeah.
I was watching that Lions Packers game, which ultimately got your Seahawks into the playoffs because I had a lot of money in DFS riding on that game. So I was
Ooh.
intently watching a game that I would normally just be casually watching. I was very closely watching that game, but I agree. I think the Seahawks getting in there, especially with that win total at the beginning of the season. Yeah, Geno Smith has been pretty much a bust his entire career. He hasn't done anything anywhere. So the fact that he was able to turn that offense around a little bit, Pete Carroll's been coaching pretty well for them, so that's good. And the Giants, I agree. Listen, everybody was calling the NFC East the NFC least. That's all they were saying. All the quote unquote experts beginning of the season were saying that a team with a 500 record would win that division. Well, I think in up to week like 14, the entire division had a winning record. So shout out to all my quote unquote experts. You suck. You're not experts, all right? But I'll be honest with you. You know that I'm not a Cowboys fan and I'm not a Giants fan because I'm an Eagles fan. But I'm happy to see the NFC East pulling through and having some really good matchups. And the Giants are a team that I don't mind so much. The Cowboys I absolutely hate, but the Giants I can live with them. I can rock with them. Saquon Barkley's a Penn State guy. I'm a Penn State guy, so I can rock with Saquon. But let's go over these standings here. So we already kind of gave who we thought was a surprise, but if you guys don't know the standings, right? So my Birds, if you don't know, I'm an Eagles fan. My Birds are at number one. We got the Niners at two, the Vikings at three, the Bucks at four, Cowboys at five, the Giants at six, and the Seahawks at seven. That's honestly, I can't say I'm too surprised about the top four teams there. I did think that most of those teams were going to win their respective conferences. The wild card was interesting this year though, so that was kind of cool to watch the last few weeks.
Well, I think by adding another team at the end there and just giving one bye is really going to change the way football is. Now, how long is it going to take for a number 2 seed to lose to a 7th seed? Well, I think it's going to take a while because most of the teams that are going to come in at that 7th pick are going to be 500, maybe a game or two over 500, and you're going to be going up against, could have been potentially the number 1 seed. But when you look at this, though, this lineup, I mean, commence to the East, man, to have 3 teams out of there, being able to be ready to rock and roll. I think, in the NFC, I mean, who would ever thought that the Rams, after dominating last year in the Super Bowl, not even in the hunt for us of those that are on the West Coast to see that. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with McVay. I mean, I think that he's letting all of his assistants interview other places. Boy, that sure puts up a big red sign. So it
Here's
should
what
be
I
interesting.
think's happening with McVay. I think McVay is done. I think McVay's coaching career for now is over. I think he's going to get into a broadcasting career now. That's
Mhm.
just my personal opinion. The Rams were a surprise to me, but they also rely very heavily on Cooper Cup, who was injured. So I can't say that I'm terribly surprised that they had a bad season, especially when he went down. They rely on him so heavily that their offense really suffers when he was gone. So, um, you know, I guess
It'll
it
be interesting to
happens.
see.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like
Well,
to see different teams in there. I don't like to see the same teams every year in the playoffs. I like to see some shake up there. So I enjoyed it.
Well, I think one of the things that, as you sit back and you look at the year and kind of what had happened, and again, there's a lot of injury, especially to quarterbacks. I mean, look at the guys that are strictly in the AFC. You got 2 second, third string guys that are going to be playing in the playoffs. Jen says it's right. Injuries, 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 man. They're all over the place. But I guess that's why you see all the penalties now against the quarterbacks as well. You can't breathe on one without it being a personal foul and a 15-yard penalty at that as well. So, but
Yep.
it's somewhere that at least in the NFC, I think there's a good representation there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the NFC is going to be a little bit more interesting for games, especially we're going to break down the games in a bit, but there's a ton of quarterback trouble in the AFC. That some of these games they're not even going to be games. It's unfortunate for the teams because they did make the playoffs and now they have injuries, but they're they're fighting a severe uphill battle with the team they were playing, even at full strength. So when we go over these, we'll talk about it. But the Ravens, they're fighting an extreme uphill battle. And then also the Dolphins. I mean, they were hard pressed to beat the Bills anyway, but now we're talking Skylar Thompson at quarterback. It's gonna be
Yeah.
I mean, you laugh. It's true though. It's like putting
No,
Joe Schmo
100%.
back there at quarterback. So we'll break down the games and we can hop into them. So again, we're gonna go over all the games. So all these bracket you see here, we're gonna go over all of it. Just so you guys know, if you are new to this format of the NFL, what happens is, oh wait, hold on. I got to address this real quick. So, welcome, Anthony. All right. He just said, Come on, the Finns in the bottom. You act like Skylar Thompson sucks. All right, well, I didn't make the rankings, okay? So don't come at the DGen for that. But it's not that Skylar Thompson sucks. It's that the Bills are hungry, for one, and two, Skylar Thompson is not Tua. They barely beat the Bills, or they barely kept it a game with the Bills when Tua was in there. Skylar Thompson is no Tua. Tua is not himself either with all his concussions this year, but it is what it is. So anyway, with the bracket, right? So the Chiefs being the number one seed in the AFC East, the Eagles being the number one seed in the NFC, they both get byes in the first round. They're going to play the lowest seeded team. So it's not necessarily going to be, who is above them on the bracket. They're going to play the lowest seeded team. So if there is an upset, they would get the lowest seeded team, and then the other two teams will play. So without further ado,
let's clarify real quick. When the lowest seed team wins, we come out to Philly.
There you go. There you go. All right. So for all those who were wondering what they're going to be doing this weekend, or if you care at all what I'm doing this weekend, I will be parked on my couch, which is over there, and I will not be moving. So Saturday we have two games. We have a 4:30 game on the East Coast, 1:30 on the West Coast. The Seahawks are playing the 49ers. Then we have a night game on Saturday as well with their Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sunday we got three games: Dolphins, Bills, Giants, Vikings, Ravens, Bengals. And then finally Monday night we have the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. So we're going to go in chronological order with how these games go. So first game we will go over is the Seahawks and the 49ers. So we know Ian's a Seahawks fan. I'm clearly wearing the Seahawks shirt today. Let's quickly go over this, right? So I'm going to give you guys the Vegas lines. I'm going to give you some offensive ranking stats, some defensive ranking stats, some injuries, and some weather updates. And then we're going to discuss the game itself. All right. So right now, I have my phone open with the sports book. We have the 49ers at a 9.5-point favorite. They are minus 500 on the money line. If you do not know what a money line is, it means to win the game. And the over-under is set at 42. So those lines are a little disparaging for the Seahawks fans, but it hasn't. Oh, you presented a stat. I'll let you present that one later. But anything can happen, right? It's the NFL. So offensive-wise, right, the 49ers are the sixth best offense. They have the sixth best efficiency in the NFL. The Seahawks are ninth. So the offenses are not super, super different, right? 6 against 9. It's not a huge disparity there. However, and what's going to cause issues, I believe, is the defensive rankings. All right. So defensively, the 49ers are the best team overall in the defensive stats. They are 8th with respect to the quarterback. They are 1st against the run. They're 27th against wide receivers, and they are 7th against tight ends. Now, the Seahawks, on the flip side, have the 25th ranked defense in the NFL, 16th against quarterbacks, 30th against the run, 4th against wide receivers, and they are 32nd against the tight end. There are no injuries to report in this game as of the current moment. Again, it's Thursday night, so if something happens, that it will not be on here. But the weather, this is where an issue is going to arise, in my opinion. So the weather in Santa Clara, however you want to pronounce it, mid-50s with a ton of rain. So, Ian, what do you think about this game?
Man, this is scary. Well, let's give you what all the radio talk show hosts say up here. It's really tough to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. We've lost to the 49ers twice already. They've scored on average 31.8 points against us, and we've only scored 13.9. It's not a very good stat going into today. We've lost 5 out of our last 7. San Francisco's on a 10-game winning streak. Geno's thrown 7 picks in the last 5 games. He's not taking care of the ball like he did earlier in the year. His percentage is down. He was up close to 7 or over 70%. Now he's down 63%. He is peaking at the right time if you're a 49er fan. Now, when we go back on the other side, though, you've got a guy who was Mr. Irrelevant who, we're going to see if he does the whole Eminem and choke up on himself when he's getting down there. But, a stat that just blew me away this week was Wildcard hosts, when the lines of 9.5 or more have either outright won and or covered the spread 12 straight times.
Yep.
Whew. With that 9.5 point spread, that's going to be tough. Now, the Seahawks do have a good receiving core. Problem is can they get out of it? George Kittle absolutely dominates us. We are like you said, 32nd against tight ends. We're terrible.
Yep.
I mean, any tight end can go against us, and it's just like, and we're down Jordan Brooks. He tore his ACL 2 weeks ago. He's down. He's our best linebacker. Our linebacking core, for somebody who's I have Bobby Wagner stuff all over my office down here. I'm a huge Bobby Wagner fan, and to see him, I just walk away from the team or get let go, basically is what it was. But this game is going to come down to one thing. 49ers are going to run the ball, and we can't stop anybody.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey is just a beast coming out of the back, especially catching passes. Cody Barton, who's one of our outside, we only have two. We play a 4-3 now. And he can't stay with McCaffrey. McCaffrey's going to have a big game. You can count on it right now. If I'm a betting man, I'm definitely laying the 9.5 and taking the 49ers. But as a true Seahawk fan, what's the money line on the Hawks? 350?
385.
385. There you go. Put a $10 bet on that. I have to cruise up to the Tulalip and put a $10 bet on that one. So, but
there you go.
It's going to be tough to be able to stop them. I mean, DK's going to have a DK type game where he doesn't get in trouble. And, I just really think that when it gets back down to it, 49ers, even with, third string quarterback, they're going to wipe us out. But still going to root for my team. That's for sure.
We'll see what happens. So Anthony put this up here, and this is my main concern with the game, right? So Seattle won't be able to run against that defense, and Geno won't throw the ball in the rain well, which that's a good point, right? Because
that is
here's what's going to happen, right? I gave you the stats already. The 49ers are the best team in the league against the run, and that rain. If the rain wasn't a factor, I think you guys may actually have a decent chance in this game, for the sole purpose that San Francisco is not very good against wide receivers. If you've watched them play defense against wide receivers, their secondary is probably their weakest part of their defense. And they do struggle against the wide receivers. They let the wide receivers get a lot of yards. But the thing that they do, and the other reason why they struggle against the wide receivers, is because they're playing from ahead quite often, right? So those teams are in a pass-heavy offense because they're behind. So that also skews the stat a little bit. So I think the rain's going to play quite a big factor, if you ask me. In terms of a betting perspective on this game, right? I'll be honest, that 9.5, it's a fair spread. I think the game is going to be right around that spread, though. I don't know if the 49ers will actually cover that spread, especially with the weather. Not saying that they won't cover, but with this game, right, if I was betting on this game right now, what I would do is I would tease the 49ers 6 points on the spread, take them at 3.5, and I would tease the under. I'd move the under, which is at 42 right now. I'd move it up to 48 and take the under. If you guys know anything about rainy games with the with overs and unders, with weather like this that they're calling for, the under has been I want to say it's close to like 80% hitting. I looked at it earlier. It was like high 70% hitting. Because of that rain, it's going to be a very heavy ground and pound run type game that eats a ton of clock off. It just eats clock the entire time. So I'm looking at this game, and this is another reason why I think the Seahawks could keep this relatively close, because I'm envisioning these drives going anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes consistently, potentially even having like an 8-minute drive here and there, which is taking up an entire half a quarter.
And that's definitely possible. I mean, I think this is going to be a ground and pound. I don't think There's going to be a lot of swing passes out to McCaffrey, bubble screens that are going to kill the Seahawks. But I think where we got him is DK's a beast, and Tyler
Yeah.
Lockett's got one of the best hands in the NFL. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Scotty Free, if you're ever in Seattle, you let me know, and I'll take you to the game. I got 4 season tickets. I love that you are like, you're giving it to us, Scotty. I love it.
Well,
I love
Scotty,
it. And I tailgate too.
we're rocking the Seahawks gear.
That's it.
I'm
That's it.
just talking. If I was putting my money on the game, that's my opinion on said game. All right, you guys know that I'm a betting man, and I like to gamble. Right, so I will have action on this game eventually. If you guys want to know what I have action on, it'll most likely be that teaser that I said, but look for some other stuff. If you want, you can join my Discord for sports betting. I'll put a link to it in the description after the show. If you want, you can see what I play. It's free. You just have to join the Discord. But I think this game is going to be a very good start to the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been waiting all week for the playoffs to start. So I'm looking forward to this game to kick it off.
Well, there's a lot of bad blood with this game, and don't be surprised if people lose their cool. Like DK's notorious for throwing a punch or something stupid, and I would hate to see a gay turn up on that.
Yeah,
But mark my words, Kittles is going to have a big game. If anybody's playing DFS, pay the money for Kittles because the last game he had like 6 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they weren't even
yeah.
close.
Yeah, I think.
So.
All right, I'll go back to this real quick. So, like I told you, if you want, I'll put them in the Discord. Here's what I'm rocking with right now off the top of the bat. Right. So that teaser I said, I like that teaser a lot. 3.5 points for San Francisco. The under 48. I'd have to look right now at what Christian McCaffrey's over under rushing attempts is, not rushing yards, rushing attempts. His rushing attempts is over 16 and a half. I love that. Over 16 and a half rushing attempts, especially in that rain. Kenneth Walker is also over 16 and a half. I don't mind that line as well. I'd like it if it was a tad lower, but they are, they have the lines because of the rain, right? But Christian McCaffrey over 16 and a half rushing attempts. Book that one. I love it. It will be in my Discord. So I do like that one quite a bit. Not necessarily the yards though, right? The Christian McCaffrey over under yards is 74 and a half. Not Geno Smith. Kenneth Walker's over 57 and a half. But the yards, I think they're both going to go over, but I'm not gonna take a play on the yards. But the attempts, I love that. So if you're new to betting rushing attempts and stuff, so basically anytime the ball's handed off, that counts as an attempt. They don't actually have to get any yards. They can get sacked or they can get taken down in the backfield for a loss of yards. As long as that ball is handed off to them, that counts as an attempt. So, they could have 20 yards rushing, but 20 attempts. So that's why I like that one. But again, if you want, I'll put the link for the Discord down below. I'll throw it in chat in a minute, actually, while we're discussing the next game. I just have to pull up the Discord so I can get it. But let's move on to the next game. Here,
Sounds great.
We have actually one of the games I'm most excited for this week. This game has been on my radar for a long, long time, and I'm excited for this one. So the Chargers against the Jaguars. It's an 8:15 Eastern Coast start time, 5:15 on the West Coast on Saturday night. The Vegas lines for this game are the Chargers at a 2.5 point favorite over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Minus 138 on the money line for the Chargers, and the over-under set at 47.5. All right, so there's your lines. Offensively, the Chargers are ranked 13th overall in the NFL in terms of offense efficiency. The Jaguars are ranked 10th overall. So that's a big accomplishment for the Jaguars this year, honestly, with making the playoffs for one, and then two, their stats have been quite good this year. Defensively, the Chargers are 21st overall defensively, 11th against quarterbacks, 26th against the run, 5th against receivers, and 16th against tight ends. The Jaguars are 12th overall in the NFL. They're 25th against the QB. They are 19th against running backs. They are 18th against wide receivers, and they are 23rd against tight ends. some key injuries potentially. Mike Williams with a back injury, he's expected to play, but he hasn't been in practice all week. So do keep an eye on that. Look for that line to potentially shift a tad if Mike Williams does not play. And the weather in Jacksonville is going to be a night game, mid to low 40s, and it will be clear. So, Ian, what are your thoughts on this game? And I'll put the Discord link in chat while you're giving us your thoughts.
Yeah, this is like the old school quarterback against quarterback type routine. You know, Steve Young, Aikman type. I can get the same vibe out of this. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is absolutely on fire. Over his last 9 games, he's thrown 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. You know, but the one thing you have to remember too about the Chargers are really starting to come on. You got one of the better running backs in Akers being able to come out of the back. Last time these guys played, you know, Herbert had busted up ribs, had a hard time throwing the ball. Bosa barely played in the game. He's healthy again, and they didn't have Keenan Allen, who's his favorite receiver. You know,
Yep.
I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be, I really like it's a Saturday night game and that whole vibe that's going to be flowing there. You know, I'm thinking that, the Chargers, it's time for them to step up. They've had some big time issues. You know, I like anybody that comes out of the Pac-12, all you guys on the East Coast that like those big schools. You know, Pac-12, this might be the last hurrah for them, but I just see that, Christian Kirk's coming around. I mean, NTA, I don't know about that kid, man. He did well. He's streaky at best. So what are they going to do? Are they going to swing him out of the backfield? I don't know. But I'm going to take the Chargers, which is funny because the money lines moved. When I looked it up on Wednesday, it was the Chargers +1, and if it's gone to 2.5, that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. The line has moved a little bit. There's been some chats I've been throwing up on screen. Jen said both teams were surprised. SJ agrees that this should be a good game. We appreciate you, Scotty. Thank you. So here's the deal, right? I saw it in chat. The Jaguars are hot, right? They've been playing very, very well recently. Here's where it comes down to me, right? Here's where it comes down to me. The problem for me is if you look at the Jaguars' stats, overall as a defense, they are pretty good. However, Justin Herbert is a tank, and the Jaguars are 25th against quarterbacks. All right? That's something to keep in mind. Also, they're bottom third of the league against wide receivers, and like you mentioned, Keenan Allen will be back he is back, but he wasn't there before. Yep. If Mike Williams plays, it's a big if. If he plays, he's going to be number 2, obviously. But Josh Palmer's been having a great year for them in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen's absence. There's been a couple other guys who are stepping up. The reason why I said I'm so excited for this game is it is going to be an absolute shootout. This game is going to be like blow for blow. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. It's going to come down to the last few minutes of the game. All right, so this is a game, personally, and from a betting perspective, right, I do think that the Chargers with Mike Williams, Chargers plus Mike Williams, they're going to win. However, if Mike Williams is not playing and Justin Herbert comes out semi-flat, the Jaguars will win this game. And this is why I think it's going to be such a good game, is that there's so many things that could happen. Jim said, I think Herbert has a breakout game. I think Herbert has to prove himself. All right. This is a prove it game for Herbert because he has broken a lot of stats. He broke Patty Mahomes' stats in his first couple years in the NFL. People are putting him in a high echelon of quarterbacks, but he hasn't done anything. He's broken stats. He hasn't actually translated that into anything. So I think this could be a very, very good game. But I'm very excited for this game. From a gut feeling from the beginning of it, I like the over. I think this game is going to be an absolute shootout. I think it's going to be touchdowns galore. Both teams are not great defensively. I love the Etienne props because the Chargers are terrible against the run. So if Etienne can have a good game, I think the Jaguars are going to do really well. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I think this game is going to be one of my favorites of the weekend, just because it's going to be an absolute shootout, and I'm so excited for it.
Couldn't agree more with you. If you're in for good defenses, don't watch this game because this isn't going to be about defense at all. I think this is
100%.
all going to come down. I think it's all going to come down to the running game. I think they both can throw the ball. They've got decent receivers, but I think it's going to come down to the running game. That's the reason why I'm going with Akers. I think
Okay.
Akers is a beast. The way he hits through the line, there's not many guys that cut through the line like he does. And
Yep.
I think that's where you're going to get that slight win towards the end of late in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to come down to, who's got the ball last even.
I agree.
I think that,
I agree.
yeah. So, and, let's talk about special teams too. I think the special teams definitely leans towards, the Chargers, but you never know because you just don't know, it's going to be a night game. It's going to be a little chilly for Florida, right? So,
Yep.
But I agree with you. Chargers got to step up. This is Herbert's time to shine. If he doesn't win one or two games here in the playoffs, people are going to start questioning him. And I think he knows it. And I think that's the reason why he's coming prepared. I mean, finally he's, his ribs aren't hurting as bad. And I'm sure he'll probably take a little bit of numbing,
Yeah.
a little Toradol beforehand, like we all used to do. But I really think that this is going to be an area of where it's get your popcorn, get your Coors Light, and let's watch a good game. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Jen's asking,
like I said,
what is the money line on this game?
The Jags
Jags
money
money line.
line. Jags money line is plus 118. So $100 bet will win
Not
you
enough.
118. And then the
Yeah,
Chargers
that's
are
not
minus 138. So this is going to be a very close game. Like I said, I prefer the over, other than picking a team here, because like you said,
Yeah.
I think this is
I'm
going to
betting.
come down to the end of the game, right? Whoever has the ball last might have a game-winning field goal on their foot. And I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. So I don't right at this current moment with the Mike Williams news, I don't know if he's playing or not. If he's not playing, I'm inclined to take the Jags money line. However, if he is playing, I do not think the Jaguars will win. Just because,
He's a game changer.
yeah, he is. And again, I went over the stat with the Jaguars defense that they're 18th against wide receivers. They are 25th against teams who have two good wide receivers.
Yeah.
All right. So they're 18th against wide receivers in general, and they are 25th against teams with two good receivers. So when you add Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in there, you basically take their defense from being middle of the pack, let's call it, against wide receivers, and you put them in almost at the bottom of the league against wide receivers. So I'm looking forward to that game. Mike Williams news will be watched very, very closely. What's Jen saying? Jen,
Akers, mark my words. Akers for 100 plus, and he'll have a touchdown. It'll be a pass out of the backfield.
There you go.
That's my quote.
I like that. Jen saying OddsJam has the money line at plus 125 on the Jags. Yeah. This is the thing. If you do sports bet, shop around, look at different books. I have one book open right now that I'm just looking at the lines on. The one I'm looking at right now is FanDuel, because FanDuel is pretty consistent in terms of being in a good spot with a lot of lines. I'll pull up Caesar's lines right now for this weekend. Caesars has it even worse. Caesars has the Jacksonville Jaguars at plus 115. So, again, take a look at lines if you want to take the Jags money line. There's some stuff for you there. All right, let's move on to this game. I don't think we have to spend a ton of time on this game. This game is going to be an absolute destroyer. This game is going to be – I'm sorry to anyone who's a Dolphins fan watching this. Congrats to your team for making the playoffs. That's all I have to say on that. In terms of the lines, this is the most lopsided game of the entire week. The Bills are 13.5-point favorites. They're minus 950 on the money line. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, you'd have to put up $950 to win $100. All right, the over-under set at 43.5. Offensively, the Dolphins are 11th in the league in terms of offense. Bills are 4th in the league. But here's where the game's going to come down to, right? The Dolphins are 24th in the league defensively. You have them being 31st in the league against quarterbacks. So they're the second worst team against quarterbacks. Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if you ask me. They're 17th against the run. All right, whatever. 16th against wide receivers. They're 30th against the tight end. The Bills, on the other hand, second defense in the NFL, only behind the 49ers. They're fourth against the QB, 10th against the run. They do struggle a bit against wide receivers, but they're 26th in the league against wide receivers. They're third against tight ends. Here's where this becomes a complete discrepancy. All right, Tua's out. Teddy Bridgewater was throwing the ball at practice today, but he's unlikely to play with his hand. That means Skylar Thompson was named the starter, and he will be the starter. Raheem Mostert has a finger problem. He is unlikely to play. Tyreek Hill has the ankle issue. It's something to watch. He did come in the game last week. He came back, but something to monitor. They're playing in Buffalo. It's going to be 20s, high 20s, low 30s. And here's my biggest thing with this game. All right, you have a third string, not good quarterback playing against the fourth overall defense against quarterbacks second overall in the league. This game is going to get out of hand very, very quickly, and that's what this game is going to be. The Dolphins are going to get. If there was a mercy rule in the NFL, it might come into play here. Honestly, if you ask me, what are your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, I could agree with you more. This line opened at 9.5, and it quickly went up, or excuse me, opened at 10.5, and then went down to 9.5, and now it's all the way up to 13 because of Tua being out. But the Fins are 1-4 without Tua. I'm not a big Tua fan either. I just don't think that Tua can get it done. I think he's always been hurt. Miami's going to have to do some real soul searching after they miss this one. So, I think that truly, when you get down to it, the Bills, if Hamlin even comes to the stadium, there's going to be so much emotion going on there,
Yep.
and that's gonna be crazy. I think that as we look at it, the Bills' defense, I mean, they're stoppers, and you got a guy like Skylar Thompson. They're going to come after him.
Yep.
I think this is going to be a complete blowout. I don't even, this game might be like the national championship game and over at the end of the first quarter.
Yep.
I think it's just a good old fashioned, and what's great is they've played each other twice already, so they know what each other's teams are going to do. I just don't think, even with Tariq the Freak and Waddle, you got two good receivers, but if you can't get somebody to throw them the ball, they don't do any good. So,
yeah.
I if I was to bet, I would take, and Jen, I can't bet up at the lip now. They have DraftKings Sportsbook up there. But I would definitely take the Bills minus 13 is what I see on mine. So half a point might make a difference, but probably not.
No,
I think this is going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be like 31-7. I think this one's just going to be a crazy, crazy shootout. And I think, I don't know if you guys heard this, but, Allen had the whole team over to his house for a prayer service. You can't talk about a bunch of guys that have banded together. They're out for it. They want to win the Super Bowl, not just this game. And this is where they're going to make a statement. So, by the way, sorry, you guys, I said Cam Akers instead of Eckler. I've got Cam Akers on the brain because he ran for 100 yards against us. And I was like, this scrub was on the beach and they called him back. So sorry about that for everybody. Somebody called me out on that. I don't know if it was Jim
it's
or
all
not,
right.
but
It's all right. I was gonna let it go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you should have told me. Yeah, you clown.
You're good. Here's the deal, right? I said it's going to be a blowout. Jen asked if I like the 13.5. I'd lay that line. Call me crazy. Call me crazy here. I'm laying that line easily. All right. If you like some higher odds bets, in an alternate spread, I'll pull up the alternate spread in 1 second. Here's my favorite bet on this game. All right. The Buffalo Bills minus 6.5 first half. Minus 6.5 first half.
Yeah.
They have to win the first half by 7 points. Again, like you said, this game is going to be like the National Championship 2.0. It's going to be over in the first quarter. It's going to be over in the first half. All right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The Bills may pull players to rest them so they don't get injured. That's how bad this game's going to be. All right.
Yep.
And let me look at the alternate spread. So 6.5. I love that game. Again, if you guys want to see what I'm betting on, join the Discord. All right. I will post my picks in there before the game starts. In the morning of, I'll post them. But let me see these alternate spreads here because um, I have one in mind that I like a lot, but I want to see what the line is. All right, here you go. So minus 20.5 is plus 200.
Ah,
I'm
well,
confident on that one even.
I would take that.
I'm confident on that one, but
I
as
would. I think
as
so.
Jen said, right? She goes, love Bills minus 6.5 first half. That is an absolute banger of a bet. All right, I love that. That will be one of my plays on Sunday. If you don't care to join Discord or you want to take a bet from me, that will be my favorite bet of the day. All right, that's what it's going to be. All right, Chiro, go
How many
Chiefs.
years?
Enough
What's the
said.
over under on what's the over under on sorry, I'm blanking right now on Diggs. What's Diggs's over under? Because that
Diggs
might
is
be a good
over.
bet too.
It's over 79.5 yards and over 6.5 receptions.
I I would take a look at the that as well. I mean, I would look
Yeah,
at the yards. I mean, 76.5. That's not a lot for him, and he
yep,
wants to be on the show. This is him
100%,
getting
100%. And I'm gonna go again with the rushing attempts. All right.
mm,
Here's what I'm gonna say with the rushing attempts. All right. This game's gonna get out of hand very, very quickly. And the Bills are going to look to run the ball, I think, especially in the second half. Singletary and Cook are going to be running the ball. I think Cook might be running more than Singletary. You heard that here first. Cook will have more yards than Singletary. But, yeah, we spent enough time on this game. We'll move on. This is an absolute blowout, so I'm not going to address it too
yeah.
much. All right. This is another big game that I have my eyes on this week. All right. This is another big game. Giants and the Vikings. Vikings are a 3-point favorite over the Giants. They are minus 162 on the money line. The over-under is set at 48.5. In terms of offense, we have the Giants at 15th overall. The Vikings are 7th overall. The Giants defensively are 17th overall, and the Vikings are 28th overall. For the Giants, they are 15th against quarterbacks, 21st against running backs, 12th against wide receivers, and 24th against the tight end. The Vikings are 28th against quarterbacks, 23rd against the run, 31st against wide receivers, and 18th against the tight end. Games in Minnesota, partly cloudy, mid 30s. I'm going to kick it to you first here, and then DGen's going to go on a little DGen rant here.
Go on a rant. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, this game just screams Giants for me. I don't know why, but Daniel Jones is, he's playing for what's coming. I
Yep.
think, Kirk Cousins, I mean, talk about a streaky quarterback. You got half the people that can't stand Cousins until he throws for 430 yards and 3 touchdowns, then everybody loves him.
Yep.
I look at this though, and you say, I think you're going to get a healthy dose of Barkley. They sat him out last week so he could be healthy for this game. I don't think the Vikings can stop anybody. I would love to see Daniel Jones because there's all this talk now about potentially them going after Derek Carr or after Carr and
Nope.
having him come in. I mean, come on. Let the guy shine. I think, here's an opportunity where who knows what you're going to get with Cousins. You don't know. I mean, one day he's great. The next day he's throwing 4 picks and nobody wants to talk with him. So I agree with you. I think the weather's not a factor. Got to love it when you're in there. Yes, I except for the Seahawks one, my friend, except for the Seahawks one. But but I mean, as you can tell right now, the Giants are they're going to pound the ball. They're going to run the ball. Daniel Jones might run one in because of that defense is just so bad at defense. So
I agree 100%. All right. Book it right now. Giants money line. All right. Giants are winning this game. You don't even need the points. Giants are going to beat the Vikings. The Vikings are the most overhyped team in the NFL. All right. The Vikings
yeah,
suck, in my opinion. They have great members of the team. Justin Jefferson is an absolute stud. Kirk Cousins, terrible. All right. I watched him in Washington. Awful. All right.
Yeah.
The game where they came back being down 33 points, that was a fluke. All right. The Giants should have beat them, like you said, in the regular season. They didn't. The Vikings are going to lose this game. And honestly, I don't think it even is going to be close. I really don't think it will be that close. I think the Giants are going to get out to an early lead. They're going to hold the lead, and they're going to play well. Brian Dable has been doing a terrific job coaching that team. All right, they played against my Eagles last week with a second string in there, and they showed a lot of heart. Their whole entire first string sat. Daniel Jones he's gonna ball out. All right. He doesn't have the greatest wide receivers, but he's got Slayton. He's got Richie James, who's coming into his own. And they're gonna have a good game. And Saquon is gonna run all over that Minnesota defense. He's gonna have his way with that Minnesota defense. All right. This game, I love the Giants in this game. I think the Giants are gonna win. This is coming from an Eagles fan. I'm being completely objective here from a thing, because if you wanted to tell me that I wasn't being objective, I'd be taking the Vikings. So there you go. Giants are winning this game, and I don't even want the points. I want the money line on the Giants. I don't even want the points. I don't care about the points. Vikings, they're done. All right, they're hyped up. They're overrated, and their season is over. It's over.
Yeah, so one of the questions you got to ask, though, is, can Jefferson back up just real quick? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Can Jefferson get lucky? Can he go for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Giants? There's an X factor there with that. I mean, that guy's, he broke Randy Moss's records. The guy is a freak of a talent. Can he take over and just have Cousins not do anything to throw the game away? So we'll see. I mean, I agree with you.
That's the thing. I think Jefferson will have a good game, and here's why I think he's going to have a good game. I think this game here, this is going to be another one of those shootout type games where it's going to be a high scoring game, but the Giants are going to get up early. Jefferson will get his. All right, he's going to have a bunch of catches. He's going to have a bunch of yards. He'll probably get a touchdown. We'll see what happens. Real quick, Sideshow, I know you want to talk about the Bucs and the Cowboys. They are coming. Don't you worry. And DGen is very, very opinionated on that game. All right, so
surprise.
Strap in right now. Get the seatbelt. Strap in, because DGen is all over that game. Anyway, with Jefferson, he's going to have a good game. The problem is Kirk Cousins is going to fail them, and the Giants' defense is ready for him. All right, they've already seen him this season. And they're ready for Kirk Cousins to just basically implode, right? He's done it so many times in his career, and this Sunday is going to be another example of him completely imploding.
Yep.
All right, Ravens, Bengals. This is another game that I don't care about. This game is going to be another blowout, all right? Vegas lines, the Bengals are 9.5-point favorites. I'm surprised it's not higher. The only reason it's not higher is Huntley is questionable. He's probably not going to play, but they're not sure. He was at practice today, but he had some soreness in his shoulder when he was throwing. So 9.5. Bengals are minus 500 on the money line. Here's why this game is even more lopsided than the 49ers Seahawks game. If you look at the lines, it's the same spread, but the money line is different. So
yeah,
do what you want with that. Over under set of 40 and a half. Yeah, 40 and a half. Just taking that. Just taking a look there. In terms of stats, though, the Ravens are the 19th overall offense. The Bengals are 8th defensively. The Ravens are 3rd overall defensively. So they're good there, but they are 14th against quarterbacks. They're 8th against running backs. 20th against wide receivers, and they are 10th against tight ends. The Bengals are 5th overall. They're 7th against running backs, 6th against quarterbacks, 17th against wide receivers. They're 14th against tight ends. Injuries for the Ravens are extremely prevalent. They're going to have a third-string quarterback in there who last week did absolutely nothing. If you watched Brown play quarterback, it was brutal. Lamar's out. Huntley's going to be out. Gus Edwards is probably going to be out as well. The game's in Cincinnati. All right. It's a night game. It's going to be low 40s, high 30s. And here's where I'm going with this game. All right. I gave you the stats. Joe Burrow is a dog. All right. The Ravens are middle of the pack against quarterbacks. Joe Burrow is going to have his way. The Ravens are bad against wide receivers. They struggled all season long against wide receivers. You got Jamar Chase, who's going to get a bag in this game. T. Higgins is going to go off, and Tyler Boyd is going to have a good game as well. All right, this game, again, not going to be close from the start. My opinion on it. Ian, what's yours?
Yeah, I mean, so when I sit back and I was looking at this game, I was Baltimore. I was like, come on. Their leading rusher for Baltimore is still Lamar Jackson, and he by 200 plus yards, and he hasn't played since week 13. They can't run the ball.
Yep.
They've only scored 12.5 points on average for the last 6 games. Bengals have won 8 in a row, and they're 10 out of 11 at home.
Yep.
I agree with you. I think the receiving core Joe Burrows is going to have a Joe Burrows game. I mean, I think he might throw for 350 against these guys. Mixon, I mean, I don't know if I would jump in any bets about Mixon. I mean, that's the one thing that the Ravens can do. They can stop the run. But I really think that three-headed giant on the receiving cores, who knows? Roll the dice. I mean, somebody's going to have a big game, whether it's Chase or T. Higgins or it's going to be Tyler Boyd. Take your pick. But I think this is a rout. I don't even think. I mean, what was the over/under on this?
40.5.
48.5 or 40?
40. I do have a bet that I do like here. Let me just pull it up real quick. Which is the Bengals team total. The Bengals team total is 25.5 points. I think the Bengals score 21 in the first half, if not more. And the other stat that I do like a lot here, let me get the exact line on it for you, is it's a passing prop. All right, Joe Burrow over 1.5 touchdown passes.
Done. Book that.
Slam
parlay
dunk
that up
that.
with something. Yeah, put that in a
Slam
parlay, a
dunk
3-team
that.
parlay on that. That's easy money. That kid's going out for this. I mean, he's early in the year they were kind of struggling. He's brought him back. I think Baltimore's quit. Lamar Jackson, he's like, I don't want to play because I'm waiting for my big contract. I don't want to get hurt. I mean, that has to
still
have,
gets hurt.
and he still gets hurt, right? I mean, that's a body that's pretty beat up already. I mean, I wouldn't give him $45 million like he wants either.
No.
But I just think total package on offense right now, the Bengals, I mean, you got Mixon, who's a great running back. You got 3 solid receivers. You got a decent tight end, and you got a good quarterback. You got a good franchise quarterback they're going to distribute the ball. But that 1.5, I would take that to the bank.
100%.
On Sunday.
I mean, that's going to be one of my favorite bets of the weekend. I think that and the what did I say? Bills first half -6. Love that, and this is absolute love. Joe Burrow over 1.5 touchdown passes, and you touched on it, right? I think the Bengals are one of the scariest offenses in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
I'd put the Bengals at a easily top 3 scary offense in the NFL, potentially number 1. Potentially number 1.
I mean,
with Burrow, you got Chase, Higgins, Boyd, and the main thing here too, and Mixon, right? But the thing here, you got Burrow and you got Chase and you got Higgins. These are all very young guys. They're going to be there for a while.
Well, they did a great job drafting. I mean, they got
I
mean, T. Higgins and Chase. I mean, you got cornerstones. I mean, but it's going to cost them some money soon. Those guys are, Jamar Chase is going to want DK money at $25 million. So, Burrows is going to want $45 million, even though the salary cap's going to go up. But they could be here for a while. They really could.
Oh, yeah. 100%. All right, this game, route. We don't have to talk about this one. All right, let's get into this game.
Yeah.
This game is the one you guys have been waiting for. All right, the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. All right, the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. I should go get my cowboy hat right now and go on my Stephen A. Smith soapbox. But, all right, here's the lines. Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites. They are minus 142 on the money line. The over/under is set at 45.5. Offensively, the Bucs are 25th in the NFL. They're terrible on offense. The Cowboys are third. Cowboys are third in the NFL. Defensively, the Bucs are 13th. They're 17th against quarterbacks. They're 5th against the run. They're 25th against wide receivers, and they are 25th against tight ends. The Cowboys are sixth in the NFL, 7th against quarterbacks, 3rd against the run, 28th against the wide receivers, and 2nd in the NFL against tight ends. It's going to be a night game in Tampa Bay, mid-50s, high 40s potentially when the weather is dropping. Ian, I'm kicking this over to you first, and then I'll go on.
let you go on your rant. Yeah, I mean, how does Dallas lose to the Commanders by 20 last week? You're getting ready for the playoffs, and you guys come out and lay a dud like that. Dak Prescott. Yep, trust me, I've had him in fantasy leagues, and it's frustrating as hell. But last week they averaged per offensive play 2.8 yards. You cannot beat anybody with only getting 2.8 yards per offensive play.
He was like 14 for 37 in passing attempts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Skylar Thompson numbers right there.
100%. And that guy's getting $40 million. Yeah. It's crazy. One thing I look at, you got Mike Williams. He had a big game recently. He had for over 200 yards. You got Godwin on the other side. I think Brady's going to pick apart, the Cowboys' defense. I think Brady wants to show everybody he's not done. I think he's done with the Bucs, but I think he's not done. Don't count him out yet. I think that, if he can control the ball and do Brady-esque type things, I think that he's going to dominate. Zach Prescott just makes some bad decisions. Now, what they do have on their side is they have a great tandem. I don't know if, for those of you guys who remember the Giants back in the day, but there was fire and ice. There was, Tiki Barber and Ron Dane, and they called them fire and ice back in the late 90s. But these guys with Pollard and Zeke, they got a great running game. If they can just stay behind, but they lost one of their offensive linemen, can they still run the ball? But I just don't see this. A lot of, bets are going towards Tampa Bay. 83% of the bets are going that way. Now, like you said, it's not all about the money, though. The money's kind of even, as you, I'm sure you will address that. But I'm definitely taking T-Bay plus the 2.5. I think they'll cover, not only cover, but win straight up at home. To send Dallas packing again, and Jerry Jones is going to figure out, wow, do I need to fire McCarthy and go get Sean Payton to do anything?
That's a beautiful analysis. I love that one. All right, I'm going to flip screens for my analysis here. I'm going to address two things you mentioned real quick before. McCarthy is done. All right, Sean Payton, and as an Eagles fan, I don't want to see this because I don't like Sean Payton coaching the Cowboys. But McCarthy is done because the Buccaneers money line on this game. All right, this picture says it all. It's a rating. They are a 1-star team. Hear me out. All right, and if anyone, I know Badger Jim is in the chat.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry, Dallas sucks. All right, listen here. Okay, Dallas. I've been seeing all these stats all day long. Dallas, 4 straight wins after a loss. 2 straight wins after a loss. 4 straight wins. And then, do you know what's 4 straight wins from right now? It's the Super Bowl. Kiss that one goodbye. All right? That's not even coming into the conversation here. Dallas is going to lose this game at home. Tom Brady is not losing a home playoff game. All right? I'll tell you that right now. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Dak Prescott is GOAT shit. He's terrible. All right? He is so bad. Dak Prescott is god-awful. He's been trending up in interceptions. He's the worst quarterback in the second half of the season. I just got a like for saying that, so shout out to whoever liked it for saying that. But here's where Dallas is going to run into a ton of issues, all right? You mentioned the Zeke-Pollard duo. Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. All right, Tony Pollard's better than Zeke. They just don't want to admit it. But the Bucs defense is not very good, but they're very good against the run. They're 5th in the NFL against the run. they're gonna close up all those gaps Pollard and Zeke are looking for, and Pollard and Zeke are gonna really, really struggle, which is gonna put the ball in Dak Prescott's hands, and Dak Prescott's gonna throw a bunch of interceptions. All right. Dak Prescott will choke this game. All right. Dak Prescott is a choke artist already, and this will be him after this game. He will be choking. All right. Jim, I sound
Poor
like
Jim
Stephen A.
is
Smith.
going. He's going. Yeah, Jim's
He
going
goes,
off
I
in here.
sound like Stephen A. Smith. That's because I am Stephen A. Smith reincarnated. You know what? Hold on real quick. I will be right back. I'll continue talking while I leave real quick, though. But
Jim, you got to throw a bet out there because, DJ in here, he's a sucker for a bet. I'd throw a bet out there and say if the Cowboys win, he's got to wear a Cowboy shirt or something like that.
we are back with my Stephen A. We're back with my Stephen A. hat. Here we go. All right. Put it this way. The Cowboys are getting absolutely trounced in this game. Tom Brady has not been having a good year so far, right? He's been struggling a little bit. The thing, though, is the Cowboys' defense is atrocious against wide receivers. They're 28th in the league against wide receivers. Mike Evans is going to have a day. Godwin's going to have a day. Julio Jones will have a day.
Whoa.
Book it right now. Brady to Julio
moly.
Jones.
Not 2010. This is not 2010, brother. I don't see that happening at all. I see Fournette having a better shot of getting in the game than Julio. I mean, Julio did have one game this year where he kind of woke up and you could see there was still something there. But yeah. I'm not counting on him at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, real quick. Sideshow put this in here. But Cowboys, bye-bye. See you.
Yeah.
Sideshow put this in there. 6-leg parlay. 49ers, Jags, Bills, Giants, Bengals, Bucks.
I love it all but the Jags.
I assume you're taking that all spreads and potentially money lines on the dogs. I'd have to get your exact bet on there because 50 pays $256,000. Sideshow, I will tail that bet with you. I will lock that in. All right. I'll get this.
If he wins, he's paying next year for craps of the cure. He's giving us all table money.
Oh man, Jim is giving jokes. I didn't know this was comedy hour here. Your Eagles could very possibly go out in their first game. Hurts is not 100%. What? Are you out of your mind? They're going to be playing. Well, here, put it this way: if your Cowboys win, they're going to be playing the Eagles. If the Giants don't beat the Vikings, all right? Hurts is not 100%. I'll take 50% Hurts over 110% Dak Prescott, okay? Our wide receivers are significantly better than yours. I'll give you the edge in the running back. Our offensive line is 1,000 times better than yours. Our defense is a hell of a lot better than yours, and that game wouldn't even be close. Eagles on the spread. Eagles will win that game by double digits. All right, that's all I'm going to say there.
Well, too bad we couldn't get together next week and talk about that game, right?
Maybe we'll see what happens, but unfortunately, we won't be talking about that game next week because the Cowboys are not winning. So I'm not even going to worry about it.
Exactly.
But if they win, we'll talk about it. We will talk about it because let me know in chat right now. Do you want this next week? Do you want Ian and I back here next week? Let me know in chat right now. We're going to flip back to this screen here where we'll chat for a minute and then we'll close it out. But so Ian and I are on the same side here on just about every single bet. Our offensive line is not 100% either. Lane Johnson, here you go. Lane Johnson will be back first week of the playoffs. Mark my words right there. He'll be back. So
I love it. I love it, Jim. Keep going. I think Sideshow Chris, man, you make that bet. I see Jen's jumping in, and Chris, you're saying in on that. That'd be a great parlay. Even if you've got something on there, just make sure you're looking at it. That's definitely something that you throw $50 down and like, man, and then you're cashing. Straight cash, homie. Straight cash.
I agree.
I think,
so go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that it's great. I mean, let's get to the playoffs. So it's what we play for all year. out the door now. I love that cliche, but it's truly about let's get some hard hitting, good football. I'm excited about the weekend. I agree with you. I'm gonna lay my big old butt down on the couch and just and geek out. I've got to try to hit the tables early Saturday morning, maybe, or Sunday morning. But I think that for sure. I mean, there's some good bets in there, and I appreciate you all jumping on and going over those with us. We appreciate it.
Yes. All right. So Ian, it looks like they want this next week. So are you down to do this again next week?
You bet, man. I love to talk football. As a season ticket holder for the Hawks for 20 plus years, any chance I can talk Seahawks.
Sounds
We
good.
might be talking about the butt kicking, but
Yeah, well,
Jen
we'll
can
talk
brag all
about
she
it.
wants then.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, real quick before I give my final say here, I can light up that 50 and smoke it. All right, I'll do it. I don't care. Listen, that is listen. I will spend $50 on that rather than putting $50 on the Cowboys to win a game. The Cowboys cost me last week. Do you understand this? I had them in bets.
Yeah.
This is why I'm saying right here, right now, right? Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, but I bet numbers. I don't bet teams. All right, I bet numbers. I don't bet teams. There's a big difference there. I bet on the Cowboys last week, and they absolutely screwed me, which hurts more because I hate the Cowboys. But be that as it may, real quick, if anyone has questions, you can drop them in chat. I don't think I said it, but you can put it. I have $500. What am I only betting one game? Which game? Well, you have a couple options. All right. First, if you want to pick a straight bet, that's one thing. If you want to put a parlay in, that's another thing. If you want to put a teaser in, that's another thing. Straight bet, my favorite straight bet is Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns or the Bills minus 6.5 first half. All right, those are the two bets I'd put 500 on. Either one of those. Lock the Bills in if you like that. If you want a parlay type thing, the teaser I said I liked. I do like that one. If you want to parlay, I mean, Bengals, Bills, and Niners is a pretty safe parlay. It's not good odds, but it's a pretty safe parlay. So, Chiro, hop in my Discord. All right, I just put the link in chat again. I will drop all of my bets in there. You guys can discuss. We can discuss bets in there as well. So we'll discuss in there. But Ian, I want to thank you, good sir,
Thank you, brother,
for coming on. And,
I love the shirt. I love the shirt. By the way, way to represent.
Thank you. All right, listen. Next week will be an Eagles jersey. All right, so nobody hold your breath in chat. I will be wearing an Eagles jersey next week. But I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you chatting with me. Everyone in chat, I appreciate all of you keeping that chat flowing and asking good questions, making incredible points. So shout out to all of you. I appreciate it. If anyone is betting this week, again, you can hop in my Discord and I can talk through things with you. But please do remember, if you are betting, please bet smart. Please do not bet more money than you can afford to lose. And we'll see what happens. This is a good wild card weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to next week. We'll recap the week. We'll go over the picks for the following week. And love you all. And thank you again, Ian. And we'll see you guys next week.
When the Hawks win, Jen has to wear my DK Metcalf jersey. Just saying.
We're ending on that. See you, everyone.